keeping me all night. Uncle, keeping me all night. Keeping me all night. Uncle, keeping me all night. Keeping me all night. Uncle, keeping me all night. Keeping me all night. All night. Uncle.
Okay, just give me like 30 seconds.
Now I'm angry.
The boss is angry. It's okay. We'll play later.
We must all make our choices.
Come on, I won't hurt you. I promise. The joke's on you!
Hello and welcome to the NSSEA featured match of the week, third place edition, featuring Team Atypical versus the A team. Got both the A things going on here. So of course the A team is Carson Graham, so that makes them the lone non-Hansworth team in our third place and final setup here towards the end of the season, or I suppose this is the end of the season. So congratulations to them for making that, and I suppose congratulations to Hansworth as well for utterly dominating the entire affair here. But in any case, we are well underway here in terms of our picks and bans. We are doing, as far as I can tell, the standard 3-band setup as we've been accustomed to for the most part for this series. Taking a quick look at that here, Team Atypical have thus far elected to ban Olaf, Nunu, and Alistair. The A team, conversely, have elected to ban Oriana, Karma. Took me a second to remember who that character was because you'd never see her played, but nonetheless, they've elected to ban her, and the Shaco. Now, the Shaco seems targeted to me. I do rather specifically recall a Shaco being played by someone. Was it Atypical? Can't recall off the top of my head, but somewhat of an unusual pick and ban. He's always been a very specialized sort of thing, but I've noticed definitely in solo queue. I've actually, I remember many years ago personally,
Wise.
I actually used to ban Shaco because, not because I thought he was a particularly great jungler, but mainly because he was so specialized and he was so rare in terms of seeing him that when people played Shaco, they tended to kind of know what they were doing on the character at the very least. You could sort of expect a baseline of aptitude on that character. Uh, but the bigger thing was people tended to simply forget how to play against the character. So in the off chance that the Shaco actually would show up, he usually tended to do fairly well. And I'm noticing actually that again a little bit of late when I've been playing in the solo queue the last few weeks. So perhaps there's a bit of an uptick on the Shaco picks. But in any case, it looks like we are doing the full 5 ban now that I'm looking at it. So yeah, just to finish those bans off, the last 2 bans coming by way of Team Atypical is Zed and an Udyr. Udyr been very popular. I've been told someone popularized it of late. I don't remember who it was specifically, but always been interesting. Just in this season that sort of Udyr has come about of all things. He's a very old, very basic character. There's not a lot that's going on with him in terms of sophistication or anything. He's fast and he deals a good amount of damage and he chugs around the map. And I suppose he's finding success this time around. Zed, no stranger to the pick ban cycle, always been good. He's one of those characters I suspect will always be good until they utterly destroy his numbers. But I don't know, if they haven't done it at this point, I suspect they won't. He definitely has been nerfed compared to previous points in the past. I know his damage used to be higher quite some time ago, but in any case, like I said, always been good. I suspect he will always remain good. Final 2 bans coming in from the A team are Singed and Skarner. This is just like an interesting, it's rather eclectic group of bands here. The names don't, like the first letter in all the names don't spell something weird or anything, do they? Oriana, Karma, OK, no. Oh, yeah, that's not a word. Sometimes you'll see teams do that. Even in pro play, I remember way back in the first season championships or something like that. I think it was TSM or something. They spelled out something weird with their bands. But those were less serious times. I think there was less money at stake. People had very strange rituals. Well, maybe they still do, but I remember reading about people having very strange rituals in terms of how they would prepare for games. I imagine things are slightly more professional nowadays. But in any case, looking at the picks here, as we will have about 3 minutes to orient ourselves in terms of what's going on, given that, once again, there is a spectator delay. So we got Pyke in the, that is most likely going to be, the Pyke support role. There have been times in the past when you occasionally see him in the mid lane, but I suspect that's not going to be the case, as we have an Anivia here who will be rounding out the mid lane. Kha'Zix, of course, in the jungle. Kai'Sa, obviously, the not mid lane, the AD carry, and Sion, the top, I suspect. Even though I personally play Sion in the jungle, I think he's supposed to be more commonly in the top of late. He's not actually my favorite top laner, though I do play him there periodically. I say periodically, but I feel like I probably actually haven't played him in the top lane in years now. But in any case, moving on, let's quickly round out the selection here by assessing what the A team has decided to run in this upcoming match. Jax going to be in... actually, Jax, I guess, is probably the jungle, since... Well, I mean, they could do Ornn jungle, but I suspect we're going to see an Ornn top lane, Jax mid lane. Been seeing a good amount of Ornn, actually, in the NSSEA the last little while. He's not my favorite character, but I'm not questioning his efficacy. Pantheon and Jinx will be going in the bottom lane. Been seeing a lot of Pantheon support of late. Mainly, well, no, that's not true. In solo queue as well. I've actually been seeing quite a bit of him now that I think of it. So both the NSSEA and the solo queue experience. And Twisted Fate once again in the mid lane. I've actually been seeing quite a bit of Twisted Fate in the league here. So a favored pick, I suppose. Now, in terms of these picks, is there anything that stands out that we should take a look at? I suppose what comes to me immediately is the scaling high and low points They're pretty all over the place in terms of when anyone's going to power spike at any point in the game. It's pretty kind of all over the place since, well, I was about to say Scion doesn't scale as hard as Jax, which would be true. But if you give Scion lane class gold, he can actually do quite a bit. It's just obviously Jax is one of the more hard scaling characters in the game. So you never want to get that character going. From Team Atypical's perspective, I suppose that's going to be a rather key feature there. Interestingly, there are double, not quite globals, but let's call them very long-range alts in the form of Twisted Fate and Pantheon. So they're probably going to look to make good use of that. I suspect we're going to, obviously see a number of summoner teleports and such. So they're probably going to try and make good use of a lot of map-wide mobility, team play, if you will. Team A or the A team have proven themselves capable of such in the past, so we'll see if they are able to actuate that in this particular instance, as this is the final game of the season, being their third place matchup, their last chance at glory here. So if they're going to do it anywhere, may as well be here, right? Now, Team Atypical on their side. Now we're just talking a little bit about Twisted Fate and his global map presence. Anivia. Oh, wait, we just loaded in. That was quick. All right, so we're going in here. Just got to go through this loading screen. It will be on the Summoner's Rift momentarily. I suppose this does bear mentioning, but Team Atypical and the A team have actually never fought each other up until this point. So, interesting place for teams to meet in their third place matchup. So, best of luck to both of them there. What does that even mean, best of luck to both of them? Really, only one team can win, but I suppose you can have good luck and have a good showing, but still lose. Well, what case, both of you guys, I hope you do well. Yeah, so now we can confirm those picks there in terms of where people are actually going. Yep, so it is Ornn top lane. There's going to be the Jax. Actually, we were talking about Jax earlier, like he was the top lane, but yeah, obviously he's not. His scaling counterpart is going to be the Kha'Zix. So Kha'Zix probably with a bit more early to mid-game presence. More so the mid-game than anything, most likely than the Jax. Unless, of course, the Jax gets going. We'll see how that all pans out. A lot of it has to do with how the early fights go, what the early gank opportunities are, what early gank opportunities are actually taken advantage of. That's kind of the key of it. You can have all the advantages in the world, but you don't take advantage of them. Well, you can't do anything. All right. Now, in terms of the bottom lane, taking a quick look at it here. Both actually fairly aggressive. They're not exactly kill lanes. That would be a misuse of the term. Kill lane, at least traditionally, always referred to kind of a gimmicky, basically a double gap closer bottom lane. Something weird like Pantheon Jax or Pantheon Jarvan, something like that. Not exactly what we're seeing here, but obviously both supports in the form of Pike and Pantheon do have the capacity to jump in and deal a lot of damage and make life for the 80 or their 80 carry opponents rather difficult. So we'll see how that all goes out. Who is able to come out ahead in that regard? And of course, fairly standard 80 carries on either side. I'm not really going to assess which one is better suited for any kind of task. They're 80 carries. I've mentioned this in the past. I don't like pretending 80 carries are any different. They're all just... all you 80 carry players out there, all you do is right-click. There's no sophistication in this whatsoever. And occasionally press a skill. Though one could argue that's all characters in League of Legends. I suppose it's just a matter of degrees. And so we were going to talk about the mid lanes very briefly here. So I feel like we've seen this matchup with Anivia versus TF before in some other set. Because this is sort of your classic scaling damage versus map presence. But in any case, we do have the jungle spawning here. So we'll see how that mid lane works out in the long run, regardless of my assessments of the situation. And they're off harassing. That is the first CS of the game going to Anivia. Congratulations. My money is now on Team Atypical winning because they got the first CS. That's how these things work, People putting all this sophistication and stuff in League, pretending there's more to it. It's just who grabs the first CS. first bit of damage there in the bottom lane going to Pantheon. Nothing catastrophic though, as Pike just takes a bit. He will more or less naturally regen as time goes on. Kaisa slowly grabbing that CS, grabs all of it, gets shot for her troubles, but not a lot of damage. They're going to be fine in the long run. That actually manages to land. Nice Q by the Anivia there. TF fighting back with the cards. Anivia actually has to walk back into the cards specifically to get hit by it, so perhaps wanting to take that. Pike landing a nice little hook there right as they level, so a good bit of damage, not going to get too much on it. We have Scion landing the Q there, not fully charged, so the damage isn't massive, but it's you know, it's a sign that he can land his Qs. Does miss that CS in the process, but he is fighting back against the Ornn there, sending him running away as the Ornn does not want to get hit by that shield. And he is landing actually another Q. Good job of landing that one. Just the little edge of the hitbox there, deceptively large sometimes, and TF not accounting for that. We have the bottom lane pushing in quite nicely. That's a decent hook there. Does block it out with his shield. Here comes the Kha'Zix, who's going to get a good bit of damage. I don't know if that's going to finish off. TF does have a flash. Yeah, he was forced to burn it as soon as the camera panned away. There's a fight going on the top lane here. Does Scion have his... Yep, there you go. Uses the flash at the last second. Barely keeps himself alive. This is the top lane shenanigans we've come to know and love in the NSSEA. People just wanting to fight regardless of whether or not it's a good idea. Just always brawling. The angry North and West Van top laners. Again, it's something in the water or something. I don't think I've ever seen this consistently aggro top laners. Ever, anywhere. But there we go. There's some good back and forth damage there. Gank coming in from Kha'Zix, who does a good amount of damage in the top laner there. Ornn forced to back off, so it kind of evens out his gains earlier. So Kha'Zix doing the good work early on in terms of providing lane pressure, but I imagine what's going on in the time being is the Jax is pulling ahead in his lane farm. So, yeah, he's currently grabbing the Scuttle Crab there, most likely. Yeah, they grabbed that at some point. TF just going down to the river to help him out. It looks like he was able to do that as a result of having pushed the wave out. So TF is going to have that advantage early, certainly. Once Anivia gets going, though, waves essentially don't exist in Anivia's presence once she gets going. So TF is going to hopefully try to take advantage of that while he can. I suppose that does bear mentioning too, because once Anivia is able to clear waves really quickly, it becomes harder and harder for TF to try and start roaming with his ult. So here comes the Jax. Nice little stun there. Anivia does have the egg. It doesn't even get popped though. So you know, even had she been hit there, they probably wouldn't have had the damage to finish her off because she was up the tower at that point. But it is obviously nice to keep that passive if possible. So here comes the, I suspect, oh, Kha'Zix actually elects to back away there. Neither jungler had actually bought the purchase anything at that point. It makes sense. Kha'Zix still looking to do things. That's a nice wall there. Saving the stun. Oh, that's a nice little play by the TF there, just barely walking in the distance and getting the stun off. We have a good bit of CC there coming in from both players on the A team's side, blocking the Pike up with both a Pantheon stun and Jinx trap there. Don't net themselves a kill through the course of that, but a good amount of damage, putting the Pike well below half, and he's going to have to think about any kind of potential future engagement very carefully, as he's not going to survive another one of those. We do, however, see both laners aggressively pushing up again. Pike has sustained back up to a degree, so he's going to be okay for the time being. We see more fighting going on in the top lane there. Decent amount of damage coming out from the Scion there. And we have Ornn still just fighting there, fighting around that pillar there. He likes not to go in. Ornn ultimately coming out worse for wear over like a rather extended trade, just sort of poking things out. So a top laner actually does know caution and is backing up on the tower at this point, not electing to fight under that massive minion wave, which will be bearing down a massive but reasonably sized minion wave, which will be bearing down on him momentarily here. Scion with some nice measured CS. The wave pushing in slow enough that it's actually, unfortunate for him, not going to bounce back quickly enough. So he's going to have to stand there in the danger zone well past the halfway point. Of course, Jax is nowhere near there. I don't think he knows that, but we'll be playing aggressively nonetheless, and we'll be able to get away with this pretty quickly. Going to elect to Yeah, unfortunate little mistake there by the Scion stepping into a very obvious Q. Scion was going to blow that wave up at that point. So, minions individually don't necessarily hurt too much, but they definitely add up if you just keep tanking them like that. So we do see a dragon happening here. Nice little play by the Jax there. Jump to the other side, specifically to get rid of the blast cone, so no one could jump in. There's no dragon steal shenanigans. So a quick, clean dragon take by the A-team. Well done there. And that does actually remind me that we are at the 7-minute 30-second mark. See, oh my god, he missed a cannon minion. Game over. Anyway, we're at the 7-minute 30-second mark, coming up to 8 minutes here, and no one's died yet. I think this is the first time I've ever seen this. This is the most pacifistic game in the history of the NSSEA. We'll see how long that continues there, but perhaps a sign of very skilled, very evenly matched teams, as we might be seeing something here. There's a bit of action coming in. Both the top laners, oh, here comes, finally Scion does go down. There's some action going on in the mid lane. Of course, everything has to happen simultaneously, as 3 people have died in that brief exchange all over the map. In the mid lane, while the camera was focused on the top lane, both the jungler and the mid lane did die as a result of Jax's need to go in and try and grab those chicken birds, those tasty chicken birds. He didn't even manage to get them. And another kill coming in from the Kai'Sa, warping in on a vulnerable Jinx, and okay, he didn't give the kill away. Pyke died. I can appreciate, he wanted to help his AD carry, who was way up there. But not ultimately a big deal. At this point in time, the respawn timer is actually fast enough, and no one was around to gain EXP off of him. So honestly, the Pyke might have actually been able to recall and heal up faster than if he had been damaged and then hit the recall button while in safety. So clearly some next level plays there. Pyke's just way too smart for this game. And Nivea landing a good bit of damage there. TF not liking the situation. He's going to back off. Does actually manage to land a stun, which means a double stun is going to come in. Is this going to be enough to at least place the egg this time around? The answer is probably no. I think, yeah, that's just barely not going to hit. So using up an ignite there, and Nivea is fine. Here comes the Jax. This is possibly going to be another dead Scion. Does he have his ult? Yeah, he can flash an ult. He'll be fine, because we can't interrupt him, obviously, when he does that. Does Jax have his flash? He does. Good amount of damage coming into the Pyke there. He was attempting something, but the A-team having none of it, and telling Pyke to get out of the lane. He does not belong there. Go back to the bottom lane. You don't like to. Scion going to clear up that minion wave, as Scions are wont to do with the sequence of AoE there. Looks like the A-team is in response going to possibly grab the Rift Herald there. It would be a nice little taste for them. Oh, Nivea getting way too close for her own good. I don't think TF is going to be able to finish things off. There's a lot of damage coming from the minions again. And forced to burn a flash, unfortunately. So good on him, I suppose, for seeing that that was not going to happen, and ultimately realizing that was not a great situation for him. But unfortunately, as a result of that whole exchange, it ends up burning the flash. Of course, you gotta... But never mind, let's not talk about mid lane. We got the bottom lane going on here. We have Pantheon going in aggressively. Jinx actually landing a good amount of damage, forcing Kai'Sa back. Given the HP totals, they're going to be very careful. Pantheon landing a good bit of harass there with his Q. Individually, that's not, still is not worth a ton of damage, but in this sort of context here, they need to start landing a bit of damage to keep the AD carry, or I guess the atypical bottom lane, at bay. Here comes the Kazakhs looking for a gank opportunity there. Kai'Sa warping in, and Jinx just disappearing. I suspect that was the Kai'Sa dealing a lot of the damage there, but once again, a double kill coming in there, as the A-team's bottom lane is suddenly not looking good at all. It was going okay for them. Again, a very quiet game, but this game sort of simply exploded in violence here out of nowhere, as the kill score is now 5-1. Scion, interestingly, we just saw him there hemmed under his tower against a Rift Herald, but it's in fact Scion that's coming back and chunking his opponent's tower down at this point. Almost equalized things. Jax just sees his blue buff stolen and starts spinning his stick in rage. He does have help from the Pantheon coming in, who is going to try and get in range and land that stun. It looks like He's gonna get away. He's okay. Well, okay. Did he turn around specifically to bait that? Yes, he did, as this might be the end of the Pantheon there, as he gets baited in, and Nivea making short work of him. So this game, once again, has gone from no kills to a lot in a very, very short span of time. Interesting stuff. We'll see how both sides are able to adapt to the sudden change of affairs here. As Nvidia doing good work, sending the TF packing. We should note the pretty decent walls she's been throwing out. So clearly, scrimmage is no stranger to that character. As we see Scion going in here during this extended brawl. Thus far, Orin does have the better of it. He elects to actually, he kind of got away with that there. He elected to auto attack. Now Orin going to use the ult. Is he going to have the damage to do anything with this? We see a whole bunch of people coming in to try and kill the Anivia there. That's definitely going to be enough. There we go. Anivia finally going down. There's a $500 tasty shutdown bonus. And they're going, it was actually the Jax who got it. So yeah, pretty good character to put it on there. Even though the A-team is down for the time being, they are certainly not out of it, especially with little plays like that. They can bring themselves more and more back into it. And Jax is always going to be a threat. Oh, another dragon. So the A-team thus far, despite being behind considerably in terms of kills, have done a very good job of just seeing when they can grab dragon. That all coming as a result of they're playing the mid where they took Anivia out and thus gained control of that half of the map. So certainly no coincidence that we saw that three-man gank? Well, a three-man offense against the nice job actually interrupting the Orin headbutt there. Unfortunately for Scion, does he have his ult to escape? No, he doesn't. And oh, or did he? I can't. Well, he'll respawn in a second. We'll see in a moment. I suspect he didn't. He probably used it defensively earlier. So here comes the Jax, however, against the bottom lane. If we have any kind of loot there. Oh, Jax apparently bit off more than he could chew, and the cavalry did not arrive fast enough, so he was caught on the backside of things with no support coming in. So that, I don't know if the AD carry or whether his bottom lane counterparts simply weren't able to jump in fast enough, or they were simply underestimating damage. Whatever happened, a rocket just missing the Kaisa there, that might have killed. That would have been pretty close. An unfortunate turn of events there, and we see that is going to be a TF going down. Kha'Zix's picking another one up. A good wall again, just completely blocking off that escape route. And though I suspect in the long run they probably would have run him down regardless, as that was a Kha'Zix coming towards him. But then actually, if that's the case, TF probably would have gotten his gold card back and could have run out and stunned. So we actually, yeah, that the wall there was crucial. We see Pantheon very aggressively flashing in there. It may cost him his life, and Nivea does still have her egg. Pantheon goes down as a result. All we have is a Orin left. Does manage to slowly whittle down the Anivia. Jax coming in for some vengeance for his defeat in the bottom lane earlier. He's going to come in a little bit late, though. Orin is on the enemy side of the map at the moment. He doesn't really have any backup, so I don't think he's going to be able to do too much out of that. It looks like he might have been trying to help his compatriots in the mid there, but he's sort of showing up to the whole fight a little bit late. He could have, obviously not, I'm not saying he should have done this, but, you know, had he had future sight and known that, you know, his services were not going to be necessary in the top lane, or in the bottom lane. Mid lane? I'll eventually get to the lane, right? There's only 3, right? He could have taken the top tower, and this is going to be, yeah, dead Jax there. So that's unfortunate. Jax, despite showing some signs of life there, oh my god, Scion just missed another cannon. But he is now under attack from the TF, who does not have a stun ready for him, so he's just going to be able to walk out of that. In any case, he does have his ult ready to go at any point in time. Kaisa farming things out under tower there. That's a very healthy tower. TF versus Scion, a classic battle. See that one every day, as there's the war for vision going on here. Bottom lane's up to something. What's the A-team doing here? I mean, Pantheon roaming is very normal. He's been doing it the whole game. But Jinx is also actually just looking to kill the Anivia there. Pike actually managing to catch a stray Jinx. So despite the idea there being nice, Jinx was actually like not too slow in a play sense. Well, I mean, she was also a bit slow in a play sense, but her character was just physically too slow to follow that play up. And Pantheon completely outpaced her, and she got caught out in the open on her own there, unfortunately, because I don't think necessarily Atypical were aiming for that. It just simply worked out that way. But now the A-Team finding themselves in a world of trouble, and they are the ones caught out once again. So an unfortunate turn of events for them there. TF not wanting that tower to go down. Scion taking a bit of damage. They're trying to land a bit more against TF. At this point, TF doesn't know that he landed out. Now he's got enough mana to probably hold that off, as he just throw out a blue card. Comes the stun, which will interrupt Scion's Q. We have a support versus jungle match here, as Caustic's trying to go for the sneaky kill against the AD carry. It looks like it's going to probably cost him his life there. Yeah, Pantheon with the fadeaway burn. Calmly walks away as there's explosions in the background. Here is the TF forced to use his flash, but dies anyway, so that's an unfortunate use of his resources there. TF is not having a great game. It looks like no matter where he goes, he's being followed by multiple players. So the team Atypical doing a good job, in fact, holding the roaming kind of I'm going to help my teammates guy out by roaming and helping their teammates out. And will this be the first dragon by Atypical? It might be, as Jax is finding himself ambushed here, and I suspect that he's not going to have the damage at this point to immediately burn down the AD carry. Does find himself surprised as well. So now the simple question is, will they be taking this immediately, or are they going to wait for backup? I suppose there's not too much harm in starting this. They do have to watch out for Pantheon. I mean, he is a support, but he does have a Dusk Blade there, so I mean, it's something to consider. And, there we go. Oh no, actually they're being chased off by the TF. The allies of the bottom lane there are actually a little bit slow in showing up, which does give Jax enough time to respawn actually, so they're going to be able to easily contest this should they choose to do so, as Atypical has not even started the dragon yet. Pantheon, he's cut off and is now hooked. That's interesting. Nice. That was a very disciplined play. That pillar just stopped Scion. He was looking to, I suppose, engage. I don't know. I feel like that's actually a fight. Had Scion gone in there and clipped someone, and might have been able to get something out of it. But they might have also just saved Scion's life from going in there on his own. Who knows? I'll have to go to a different timeline to find that out. So Anivia getting a bit too close there, getting walked up by a lot of CC. Scion also is finding herself considerably worse for wear there. Kaisa is running, but yeah, they do have to respect her damage, so they do back off. And the J-Team is not able to get too much else out of that. A bit of uncharacteristic out of position there by Anivia. Simply because thus far, every time Anivia's died, she's been slightly aggressively pushed up, but it's sort of a multi-man gank, so it's hard to do. Another hook by Pyke. Good job on that. He's got some good accuracy on that thing. I'm reminded of the Blitzcrank player from the other day. That was Bang's Blitzcrank / Thresh guy. Anyway, shades of that, as Pyke doing some pretty good work here. Respectable scoreline. That was going to, his ult was going to go anyway. It was on a reset, so tried to get a bit of damage there. I don't know if it landed. It was inconsequential. In any case, this sign is going to hold the line. Maybe is, of course, respawned in the meantime. This is still only the 20-minute mark, folks, so people respawning at a reasonable pace. Kaisa picking up all that farm. A nice discipline showing by the team, putting the money on the greedy AD carry. AD carries always want all that money. And, alright, Jack's picking some things up there. The game has not been the kindest to him thus far, but he does have a Trinity Force, so it's something. Alright, Pyke pushing up out of his base there. The Vision Wars continue, as the A-Team is our most victor in that, taking out 2 wards for the time being. Uncontested victory. Victory by default. They are attempting to hide here to potentially take out the Pyke. If they were going to do that, they were a little bit late. That's unfortunate. It looks like they're going to have this turned around on them there, as eagle-eyed Kaisa there does spot that out and immediately comes in. That's the kind of map awareness and presence that the A-Team is probably looking to do there with that ambush, but unfortunately they hesitated, didn't quite go for it, and they're finding themselves dead all over the map here. Pantheon, are they going to kill him or not? So they still kind of went for him. Pantheon ults away. With 3 players left, I don't favor the 18 odds in a steal here. You never know. You know, maybe those cards are going to be about 5 seconds too late. Not that anyone should expect that to be a steal. That's an extreme long shot. He attempted. He tried. That's the important part there. So yeah, suddenly at the 22-minute mark, the kill count is now 19-6 with a almost 13,000 gold deficit that the A-Team is going to have to work through if they're going to want to make themselves competitive here again, and Baron on top of that. So the only... Is this a bright spot? I mean, they're winning in terms of dragons. Maybe that'll come into play. We'll see. Again, just a very, I don't know, this almost feels like an NSSEA hallmark where it's just sort of like not a lot is happening or it's super even, and then you blink and suddenly one team is just being stomped. But it's an interesting way to be, I suppose. The top side, the bottom side tower going down here. Jax electing to fight on the tower. Scion just way too tanky. He's having none of it. There's that ever sneaky Kha'Zix coming in there, landing his whole assassination shtick. That's what he's good at. And keeping the Jax ever down. Never really had a chance to get going. There were a few bright spots for him, particularly when he picked up that, what's it called? The killing spree bonus there. At that point, you start thinking, oh, maybe Jax will get going, but Atypical's like, no, we know what happens when Jax starts getting some money, so they put an end to that. Scion electing to use his ult there and backing on out. It's kind of an average length cooldown, and it doesn't look like Scion really has any CDR, so it's going to be a while until it comes back for him. But it looks like since everyone's backing off at this point, it's a decent use of the ult, making sure no one gets ahead of him and he doesn't get kind of collapsed in on. So preemptive use of that. There's going to be another dragon there, so the one lead, the sole metric on which the A-Team is counting upon their glorious return to form there has been nullified as Atypical has picked up their second Ocean Break, and evening the score at 2-2. Now we see Scion pushing up the mid lane once again. He's going to land a reasonable amount of damage there against the... Speaking of reasonable amounts of damage, the TF finding himself in a brief bit of trouble there. He does manage to get out. Did he burn a flash? He must have. Yeah, looking at the cooldown, he used one there to get out of there. So that resource will not be available for him in any upcoming battle, as Scion is just fighting everyone off on his own. We have Jax spinning the stick and at least avoiding the minion damage there. And the minions are doing okay amounts with the... Ooh, that tower just got chunked. It is now gone, so that is the game's first exposed inhibitor. Yes, it is. So Atypical will be trying to make something happen here, I imagine. Kaisa is a ways back, though. She's kind of just pushing out on that outer turret for the time being. Nice little stun coming in there. Pyke taking a bit of damage, but he's going to, of course, heal that back up, as Pikes are wont to do. That's a lot of damage on the suddenly dead TF. It looks like he was safe, but then he wasn't. That's League of Legends, folks, with Atypical doing a good job there. Here comes the Pantheon, favoring his odds against the Kaisa there, and it does not pan out for him at all. Actually, he landed a good amount of burst damage, but ultimately Kaisa has too much damage going there, and Pantheon, as the support, is not able to fight that out, given the lesser amount of resources he has to make do with, given his role. Unfortunate situation for him, but you know, he tried. Things are looking desperate. It was like, well, if I can pick him off, maybe we can make something happen here. Unfortunately, as a result of that exchange, the A-Team lost on all fronts, and the war effort is crumbling at the moment. I don't suppose they're going to be able to hang out for much longer here, as one more tower may fall. Nope, electing to back off. Atypical doing the discipline thing and not charging into the enemy base. I suspect they have a lot in terms of resources to spend here, so yeah, the moments of dread here, the A-team being forced to just sit around and wait for the inevitable end, I suppose, saying their prayers as the horde, the unstoppable tide of Team Atypical will be flooding into their base momentarily here. It was a slightly asynchronous recall, so it's going to take a little bit longer to get in there. They may, in fact, elect to just wait for Baron. That would probably be the big discipline thing to do, to just 100% ensure that they can move, especially since Anivia is actually just hovering around there and trying to get stuff. So she might have been on some kind of gold threshold. Like, okay, I'm 100 gold away from death cap or something like that. Actually still floating around, still fusing the recall. Anivia just doesn't want to go home. I'm not really sure what the plan is there. But in the meantime, they're just sending 3 players out there. That is a little bit dangerous because things like that can happen. Thank you very much. I'm here to make predictions all day, and that is unfortunately for them. Pike respawning. He's going to be 30 seconds. However, he will probably make. Oh, he's not actually going to. Well, he won't be there for any potential Baron, but he'll respawn in time even if they start taking it immediately. It looks like Team Atypical are electing to go for it there. A possible opportunity for the A-team to do something about this. They pretty suspect it, but yeah, too much damage. They're not going to make it there in time. Kaisa doing a very, very good job of shredding that target there. And Pike, despite his sins, will reap the rewards. I do believe he respawned in time. I wasn't looking specifically at his timers there. Not that it's the biggest thing in the universe, but... There we go, Scion clearing that up. The Team Atypical looking to grab that blue there. There is, I believe, the inhibitor bottom side. Oh, it is not. Okay. Scion here, obviously he can ult out if he has to. Pantheon blocking him from escaping in that direction, but he's fine. That's a Scion. No one can really do sufficient amounts of damage to him there, even though he's not actually the most tanky character, or in terms of his item set. He's got some tank items, but... Alright. The super minions with Baron buff flooding into the base there. Scion still slow pushing that. Kaisa picking up the dragon. That is their 3rd ocean break. Alright. It's a beach filler episode here for Team Atypical, as they're going to be pushing in here. I suspect we're going to see a large attempt at something by the A-team team here, but too late. Yeah, they're forced to make these kind of weird attempts at doing stuff, and Atypical just has too much money. They do lock up Kaisa for the time being. Had the, they had a bit more money to work with, they might have actually been able to do something with that. But, of course, Team Atypical is going to take things like that into consideration as well. It's not just the passive recipients of things. People, when they have more money, are going to play more aggressively, and especially if they understand the limits of their character, are not, going to die as a result of things like that. So, can't take that away from teams when they're ahead. And there we go. I believe that's the first Nexus exploit we've seen in a while. Usually the surrender comes in and the game ends. But in any case, game number 1 going to Team Atypical versus the A-team. After, again, the most passive early game I've seen, I want to say ever in this league, exploding into an ocean of blood as Team Atypical once again comes out ahead, and A-team is looking to fight back in this 3rd place match. See you guys in a moment for game number 2.
I shall endure.
All right, welcome back for game number 2 of our third place outing here.
Promise.
The A team versus Team Atypical, and we are already well underway in terms of the banning. Both teams eager to get that done with here, as the first ban is Nivea. Of course, keep in mind the teams have switched, so that's why the ban is on that side there. A team on the blue side with Atypical on the red side. So yeah, really not liking what Anivia did to their team that game. I don't know if that was a team-wide consensus or TF just saying, I don't want to see that again. Please don't make me fight another Anivia. And they're getting rid of that. Anivia, you know, credit to the Atypical's mid laner there, was, again, very good with those walls. You know, landing the Q and all that and dealing the damage is one thing. Creative use of walls I do appreciate. You know, that geometry. Alright, so anyway, moving on in terms of other bans here. Oriana is, I believe that's the same ban as last game. Yeah, we saw an Oriana ban coming in from the A team last game, I do believe. And Kha'Zix, that's another targeted ban. So Kha'Zix, again, doing good work. So this is, again, a very, very straightforward banning strategy here. Thing did well in last game, therefore do not want to see. Again, nothing wrong with that. It's a solid strategy. Hopefully it pays off for them, as obviously the A-team want a better result compared to that last game there. Now, in terms of bans thus far coming in from the Atypical side, we have we've got the Olaf, we have a Nunu, and an Alistar. Those identical bans. Certainly the Nunu and the Alistar are. I don't think Olaf. I don't remember who was banned in place of Olaf there, but I don't think it was him. I don't know. I'd have to go check the bot or something. But maybe one of you guys remembers. You know, your young expert memories there. I'm old and the hard drive is dying, so I can't remember all that stuff. Well, I know this is short term, so I guess it's more RAM. Whatever. In terms of picks here, what do we have going? As Kaisa is coming in once again, except this time the A-team picking the character out. So kind of serves as a ban pick, a double whammy there. Strategizing is the A-team, managing to do that. A Nocturne coming in, an always solid jungler. I can't think of an era in League of Legends when Nocturne would have ever been bad. The closest thing I can think of was before Nocturne was released, and therefore he was simply neutral because he didn't exist. Twisted Fate coming in once again from the A-team. They're really committed to that Twisted Fate pick. So with an Nivea and the Kha'Zix there, not there to ruin his day, perhaps he'd be able to roam around and make good use of his team helping abilities, I suppose. They're also very committed to long-range mobility, it looks like. coming in once again with a Nocturne, who will kind of replace the Pantheon, who was actually banned out incidentally. We'll get to that in a second there. I believe that ban came after the Nocturne was picked, so perhaps not wanting to see the triple pseudo-global. Again, they're not exactly global, so I'm going to call them pseudo-globals. In any case, we do have some more bans here, so let's just discuss those really quickly. Of course, we hinted at the Pantheon, but we'll get to that in a minute here, as we're going to do A-Team first. We see a Braum ban. Interesting. I don't know if that's targeted or what that one is, but they don't want to see a Braum. Alright. Guess they don't like his mustache or something. I don't know. Syndra here is the last ban, and now Atypical getting over there. As we mentioned, there's the Pantheon ban, as I suppose, yeah, Pantheon was running around the map and doing a lot of good work. I don't know if that's specifically the reason they banned him. I could see in a slight, where things worked out slightly differently, where that Pantheon really could have been the difference, and allowed things to work well for the A-Team. So it could be because they're seeing potential there, or because they don't want to see the triple high mobility, the entire team can just kind of show up anywhere sort of team comp, paired with, the Nocturne and the Twisted Fate and all that. That requires a high degree of coordination. It can definitely sort of blow up on you there. That kind of playstyle and sort of strategy definitely has potential there. And lastly there is the Ornn ban. Now, Ornn was picked by A-Team last time, so I don't know if that was ban worthy personally. I think he was the only lane that did well. Everyone else kind of got blown up a bit, so simply electing to get rid of that. In response to that, of course, the A-Team has decided to pick up Gnar instead. I like that character better, but I like, here I am just dunking on Ornn all day. Again, I keep mentioning that, but I'm making it seem like the character is bad or something. I just find him boring. Gnar is just a lot more dynamic and interesting, I find. So anyway, maybe I'll have a bit more fun looking at the top lane personally. So again, don't none of you guys and girls out there, don't be discouraged playing Ornn. All right, if you like Ornn, you like Ornn. Okay, get it? I'm just mean. All right. All right. So last few picks there, we have. All right, I suppose we haven't really discussed the picks in a kind of total sense at all, so may as well take a look at that, as we do have the 3-minute spectator delay going on here. So it'll be Kai'Sa and Lux most likely in the bottom. We got the old Lux support. I like to call her Bargain Bin Morgana, but it's not bad. It's fine. I just like Morgana better personally. That's again another personal bias I'm throwing in here. And we have Nocturne rounding out the jungle there. Of course, TF in the mid lane again, and Gnar at the top lane, as we discussed earlier. Now, for Team Atypical side, we have in the bottom lane, that is going to be Samira Rel. That's actually what is going on with the teams here. Shaco, not obviously, but most likely the jungle. So actually, that was banned last game, wasn't it? So the Shaco's sneaking through. So I suspect that was a targeted ban. Maybe they knew their jungler liked Shaco specifically. Because it's not exactly, I've been seeing a Semio cam on it recently, but I feel like it's still not the world's most popular pick. Definitely an annoying character to deal with. And again, he's sort of a specialist pick. Again, this is not, in organized play like this, you can expect everyone, whatever character they're playing, they probably know how to play it decently, which is obviously not the case in solo queue. I don't need to tell you guys this. You've all experienced that. I suspect you guys you just hear the amount of disgust that was in that term. But, very frequently you'll see people playing stuff they have no idea how to play. Like they just have never played it before or something. Shaco kind of bucks that trend a bit, where I cannot specifically recall an instance where someone just decides to play Shaco for no apparent reason. Like when people are picking Shaco, it's because they play Shaco. They're Shaco people. But in any case, again, this is organized play, so it's not super relevant. If someone's playing a character there, I suspect they've probably put at least a few hours into the character or something. In any case, moving on in terms of the picks here, we have Teemo and Kayle. So I guess it's Kayle mid, Teemo top. Wait, no, Scrimmage was there the... I know the name because I remember reading the name Scrimmage specifically. Uh, well, we'll find out, soon. Honestly, you could really flip either of those. I suspect it's the Teemo top, Kale mid, but the Teemo pick is just kind of throwing me for a loop there. I mean, who would it make sense for him to fight more? Um, yeah, I'm going to say the Kale mid simply because I actually like that pick into the TF. TF doesn't exude as much lane pressure and just the ability to, make someone go away as some other characters. So that would definitely give Kale the time she needs to just scale up and turn into the unstoppable monster that Kale does, or Kale becomes, if you give her enough time. Just farm up. The rest of her team just needs to be a little bit careful of TF. As time goes on, she gets reasonable wave clear as well. So, just looking at things really quickly here. So where is... Oh my god, these skins. I lost track of who is where. Viridian... Okay, Kale looked like... I don't know, Elrond or something. I know that's not the right game, but... Or franchise, I suppose. So he's actually going to go with Barrier, and probably the mid lane there. And like I said, I suspect that's the Teemo top lane. Favoring his chances against the Gnar, I suppose. Yeah, I think that's probably the logic. I mean, that's the logic that I would use there. I don't know what the team Atypical is thinking, but probably the case of you let TF do his thing. If he wants to roam around, whatever, we'll watch out for it. My teammates are smart. There's no way they'll get picked off in a TF teleport they don't expect. I'm just going to sit here and farm and make TF regret ever leaving the lane, sort of situation. And there is the Cursed Revenant Nocturne skin. That I remember specifically talking about that skin on my stream. Now, granted, you probably noticed I complain about skins a lot, but that skin in particular has always stood out for me because I thought the base skin itself in-game looks kind of cool, but the art... See how that hood and like his kind of his shirt underneath the armor or whatever that is this weird red color? To me, that looks really out of place. Am I being like just way too nitpicky there? Or now that I've pointed it out, do you guys agree? I think that art would have actually looked pretty cool had they just made that a better color, but it sticks out like a sore thumb. Anyway, we're loading in here, and everyone's going to spawn in a second. Just got to get the loading out of the way. And let me move some things around here. So, okay, no, that's fine. And we have some purchasing going on there. Nothing too noteworthy. I'm just kind of staring at the items there, but nothing jumping out at me at the moment in terms of strange level 1 picks. You don't tend to see those anyway. You have a limited amount of gold to work with there, so not much of a choice at the time for the early thing here. Now we see both teams going in for a level 1. Excuse me, there's an exciting team fight happening, but there's an alarm going off in my house. So I can hear, hopefully you guys can't hear that at the moment, but I think the upstairs people set off the smoke alarm. Cooking mishaps. Anyway, that's not nearly as exciting as the League of Legends we are witnessing before our very eyes here as things kind of settle down. As there's a bit of banter going on in the chat at the moment. All right, the emergency has been settled. It looks like they managed to shut the fire alarm thing off there. And, yeah, so we were going to potentially have a bit of action there. It's, I suppose the most fighting we've seen on a level 1 in a while there. Those are not too common, and the jungle will be spawning momentarily. We'll see how this all works out as the game is now started officially. And I suspect we're going to see... My bet is on TF getting the first CS of the match. There he goes. Well, he might have missed it. The camera panned away at the last second. But I suspect he did get it. Actually, yeah. Actually, look at the TF's CS thing at the bottom of the screen there. He missed one. I don't know if it's the first one or the second one. But anyway, we see back into the bottom lane here, back in the mid lane. We have not even looked at the top lane yet. Huge bias. The camera controlling AI hates top lane. just the burden of top lane. Everyone hates top lane. And honestly, I've been getting tired of playing top lane of late. For years and years, I was a top lane player. And of late, I've actually been playing jungle because I get to be lazy. And I don't have to interact with anyone if I don't want to. Good amount of damage coming in there by, I was about to say the TF, but actually Kayle fighting back in an okay capacity there. Not entirely falling behind. We see Teemo or BMO slowly pushing in there. He's got the lane push advantage for the time being. That's not necessarily a good thing. I mean, it can be, but we'll see how it all works out. Certainly for the time being, no jungler is really threatening anything. That's a good amount of damage coming in from the TF, who has established pretty good control there. It's going to call for the aid of Shaco, who's actually going to get chased up because a ward spotted him out, I do believe. And back he goes. Both junglers, or rather, not both junglers. And Shaco looking to kind of do something, but unfortunately his time is wasted at the moment. Both junglers are on that side of the map, though, so we may see a fight over the Rift Herald there. Oh, no, Rift Herald. Yeah, they're going for Rift Herald this early on. Nice smite there. Ultimately, the Shaco does take it and uses his stealth. That was a pretty good defensive use of skills there, as Shaco using his invisibility to just barely get out of there alive. Had the Nocturne not flashed up to the last second, he would have found himself drowning in the river. And there we go. Here comes the TF. Landing a blue card. I don't know if that's the exact one he wanted, but what he had at hand. So he was forced to MacGyver that situation out. And there we go. He's going to grab some stuff under the tower. I'm not actually sure what he was doing roaming on the river that side, but we're kind of fixated on other portions of the map at the time. There we go. We see Lux just kind of throwing things out. What is the CS difference in the top lane here? Teemo actually has a relatively large lead. Well, not large, but he's got a sizable lead. Here comes the Rel, knocking up the Kai'Sa, landing a good amount of damage. Rel actually, of course, she can obliterate shields, so is probably going to look to use that to nullify Lux's defensive capabilities. And yeah, for the time being, there we go. Forced to back off, but it was a good little exchange for them. They are pushed in there. Nocturne is kind of in the area, but it looks like he's going to do the Krugs there first. So I don't think we're going to see any action out of him at the moment. However, Dragon is spawning soon here. So I imagine both sides are going to start thinking about that potential ganks in the bottom, at least setting it up via the Scuttle Crab there, which is available for pickup. There are a lot of pings going down. Someone is toxic on Atypical side there. There we go. Here comes Gnar with actually a Mega Gnar jumping in. Does Teemo have his flash to get out of this? I don't even know if it's worth it at this point, because both players do have their flashes. Yeah, there we go. Bit of an Teemo. That's the thing about Teemo. It's just, I don't like him as a top laner. I know he's kind of that mimetic kind of thing where it's like, oh, Teemo, you know, I hate fighting Teemo. Honestly, I'm gonna be brutally honest here. Teemo sucks, okay? You don't need to fear Teemo with the top lane. He doesn't have any mobility. Just jump on him and he goes squash. Now, granted, okay, never mind. Let's talk about my biases here. Shaco running away, or not Shaco, excuse me. Shaco trying to do something here. Easy baiting. Yeah, okay. TF, a bit obvious in the bait there, but he tried it, and Shaco not falling for it. So good presence of mind. A lot of people would have actually fallen for that. Here comes the barrier, so that's going to happen there. Does have an ult. Is that going to be enough to kill the TF? Yeah, well, TF's going to go down as a result. We have a jungling duel in the mid lane there. That box is going to keep him safe because if Nocturne had walked into that particular trigger and feared. Good amount of damage coming in against the Samira as that exchange goes pear-shaped on her at the moment. Do we have BMO barely battering for his life there? We're going to see a dead Shaco at this point, so another nice kill from the A team. And just, what was that, an ignite? It must have been an ignite coming in. Yeah, there was an ignite coming in from the Lux there, finishing off the support counterpart in the bottom lane as Rel falls to that. Teemo is somehow still alive there. Not for long, however, as, well, I don't know, he might trade the kill. He'd trade the kill at the very least. And it does go 1-for-1 there. Personally, I don't know, I think I would favor that trade. It depends on which direction the lane is pushing in exactly, but I suspect actually it's going to push out for him. So that's a big wave, though. Actually, that's probably quite bad for the team. He's going to miss quite a bit out of that whole exchange there. So relatively good use of the Nocturne ult. I also favor the long-term scaling prospects of the Nocturne over Timo again, personally. So simply because he can apply that gold advantage he has across the map. Whereas I feel like Gnar doesn't need to worry about Timo too much. But anyway, can I talk about top lane now? Okay, things have sort of stalled out for a little bit here. So I'm not just saying that to be mean to Timo or something like that. Rel's still trying things, nothing gonna happen there. There is... Oh, here comes the TF. He is caught out way ahead of his allies there. Is he gonna have enough? Okay. Actually, he was the one in danger of dying there. So a bit aggressive there on that TF ult. I'm not quite sure what the plan was. But Gnar eating a bit of damage. They're standing a little bit too close to that mushroom. So, yeah, we're looking at top lane. There's a dragon happening in the bot lane. Man, the curse of the taunts commentator strikes again. I'm trying to talk about top lane and just like 7,000 things happen simultaneously as the A team pick up their first dragon again. Congratulations to them. First dragon in general. And they're going to look to push that thing out there. Timo is grabbing blue buff, I think. Probably that's what he's doing. He does have to watch out for Gnar, but of course Gnar is sandwiched between two players at the moment, so he does need to watch out for that. He's not going to have too much backup here. Here comes the Nocturne. Very aggressive ult. He may or may not die as a result of this, but he does have backup in the form of multiple teammates. So TF coming in with the blue card special does pick up nothing, as that was a clone. And Gnar... He does have Mega Gnar form. That was a little bit aggressive by the team. Oh, Gnar doesn't quite get his transformation. That is unfortunate for him. I'm sure he was looking for that, because had he gotten that, he probably would have picked up a kill there. Nice idea, unfortunate execution in terms of the timing and everything. But yeah, Timo picking himself up a kill there with 3 kills, 2 now. So he's doing all right for himself. So anyway, I think we have... No, we don't. We have the bottom lane coming in here, and no, they're going to just kind of passively grab what's under tower there. With the mid laner, just landing some stuff. Not a lot. So here comes the Kale. Yeah, okay, hopefully, I mean, for the... Oh, okay, more fighting. There goes the Shaco. Things not going great for him there, but they do trade the kill at least. Here comes the Gnar, who cannot seem to land a clean shot against Timo there. He is back and is forced to flee as a result of the timely aid of the mid laner there. Kale coming in. If Kale can grab another kill there, that is going to be huge for her. Tries to land that Q, but not going to work for her. I don't know if that was a kill in any case. But, alright, there we go. That's going to go in that direction. Is Gnar going to go for it? Lands that Q. Not going to go for the kill. As probably it would have traded at the very least with the Kale, and you don't want to trade with a Kale. Not to mention, he probably would have been blinded, and most likely would have died. Timo is good for that, in those sort of short exchanges. If you can kind of burst someone down while they're blinded, they can't really fight back. And Gnar, at least when he's not in Mega Gnar form, is not going to deal the most damage as a result of his auto or his abilities. So, so we have TF wandering. I suspect we're going to see an ult from him to try and snipe down that mid lane counterpart there. He does have... Yeah, there he comes. There's that ult. Gnar is going to come in. He is going to take a lot of damage there, but he's fine. The kill ultimately goes to him. Yeah, the gold is fine in that regard. So long as someone gets the kill, that's all they need. So good job on the A team coordinating there and managing to take that one. We have Timo roaming towards the mid lane. He's not really going to be able to do too much about that, I suspect, unless... Oh, here comes the Shaco. He's, yeah, there we go. Yeah, on his own, Timo can't do anything, but the Shaco is certainly going to be able to finish that one off there as he claims sweet vengeance upon his jungler counterpart. Okay, so anyway, if I can perhaps finish my Timo rant here, it's just that Timo is not actually all that different when you take an AD carry top lane. It's a thing that's doable, but due to his lack of mobility, if he ever fights if he is ever forced to fight kind of your traditional high mobility kind of gap closer. I'm good at getting stuck in and fighting people top lane. Kind of like Gnar. Really, he shouldn't stand too much of a chance. Because people jump in and burst him down. He's very squishy. You just can't do very much about it. So really, every time Gnar has Mega Gnar form, and he's not as reliant on his auto attacks, because that's the, obviously the one instance where Teemo can kind of fight back, is more auto attack reliant champions. He blinds them, he gets a bit of time, sort of thing. The ability damage should generally be enough to burst him down. But in any case, that's enough of that. As we see Kale coming in here, here comes the Shaco looking to try and do something. Throws the Chilling Smite out. It is not going to be enough. Baited the Ignite from the TF at the very least. So the kill score is even. A-Team does have a Dragon. I think the... let's talk about that in a minute here, as we do have a potential fight. No, Rel going in once again. I feel like that's kind of been the story of the bottom lane this game around here. Is Rel is always looking for something and just is either, well, I was about to say it's always just short, but that's going to be enough in this instance there, as they're going to probably take out the support there. Samira now spinning on people. The only person left up is the Rel, so ultimately I feel like that's not a worthwhile exchange, as they did lose their AD carry as a result. I mean, they certainly made things happen, but Samira is just going to be able to sit there and pick up more CS in the meantime. What is the CS difference in the bottom lane out of curiosity? It was the... oh yeah, okay, no, Kai'Sa does have a small lead there. So she'll be able to continue that in the meantime. The A-Team is looking to potentially grab that Dragon really quick there. Neither top laner is really in position, well, no one's really in position to contest this, as the A-Team do manage to pick their second Dragon up, so definitely a bright spot for them there. But as I was saying, really the kind of telling, that budding, I don't know, there's a small brush fire right now, and basically the entire game is going to be on fire soon, unless they start thinking about this, is the Kale. Now Shaco picks that kill up there, but that's not really what I'm talking about. Guys, look down at the CS score and the difference there. That's 70 on TF versus 124 on the Kale. Kale's been free farming. Kind of like how I said at the beginning of the game, that's the big issue, because you have to deal with that. If you have a Kale with a lot of money, you know, let's pretend here Kale's going to die. Maybe she will, maybe she won't. It doesn't really matter. She even picks up the kill. That's just making matters worse. You can't let that happen. Team Atypical can win off of that character alone unless that situation is dealt with. So A-Team is really gonna have to start looking at that a bit more seriously. And here comes the surprise Rel, horse jumping out of the brush. This time they do manage to take the Lux out. She didn't even get her ult off. I imagined, yes, she didn't even get it off cooldown there. As here comes the Shaco, still going for it there. Do manage to pick that kill up. Shaco does take that. No one going down as a result of that tower damage there. So suddenly Team Atypical finding themselves in the lead here in terms of the kill count. Their flurry of activity works out in their favor in that instance. So that time, that whole Rel engagement worked out nicely. The surprise out of the bush. The most important objective in the game being contested there in the form of the chicken birds. Teemo is, oh sorry, Gnar, they're both the Ordals, they look the same, alright? I guess that's racist. Whatever. Here we have the Kale grabbing the blue buff as well. The strategy of seasons of old. Gnar getting out of there, electing to simply push the Teemo away, doesn't necessarily like his odds there. No, Mega Gnar form was almost done. I suppose it's an adequate use of the skill. We have the Nocturne lurking in there. He does have his ult, so if there's an engagement on the part of the Gnar and he can bait the Teemo in, that should be, yeah, that's probably going to be a dead Teemo there, I suspect. You can only blind one person at a time, drop in that Spiteful Mushroom, but ultimately that's only going to irritate the Nocturne, and he's going to go off and do whatever it is Nocturnes do in that free time. Gnar pushing in, he's going to be able to clear this way in short order here. Does Teemo... Right, he doesn't have teleport, of course. So he's going to have to run back in the lane. I don't know if he's actually going to make it in time. Shaco's still lurking around, still looking for things. Man, that's a scary Shaco. Always, you know, as I was saying, you know, Shaco, people who go out of their way to play Shaco usually know all the little tips and tricks and all that stuff. But and this Shaco is no exception, as he is constantly looking for things to do. It's always... I always take that as a good marker of whether or not I can trust someone when I play again solo queue. But when you don't have any information to work with against people, not necessarily just the kill score or how well they're doing or anything like that. It's like, are they actively looking for opportunities to do stuff on the map, and do they understand context? So do they just go ahead and okay, let's not talk about that. If there's fights going on all over the place, it looks like the Luxalt does manage to land as the AD carry goes way too aggressive there and tries to walk into what at the time was 2 people. Even then, that's too many people to walk in. They really should have waited for the Rel to do something first. So an unfortunate turn of events for them there, as Team Atypical's bottom lane does end up dying as a result of that. In the meantime, people are fighting over the Rift Herald, though. That's very unfortunate timing for them. They won't have the bottom lane to, and they're finding themselves sorely outnumbered, and that is a bunch of dead people, everyone going down as a result. The only person alive is the Kale, who's not present for that whole fiasco, and a good comeback there for the A-team as a result, simply from just a weirdly timed engagement by the bottom lane. A seemingly unrelated prospect, kind of in an inconsequential battle, resulting in a near team wipe and Rift Herald going down. Now, of course, Rift Herald on its own doesn't really do anything. You actually have to use it to good effect. So we'll see how that all, just how much that weird kind of extended fight actually ends up hurting Team Atypical. It might not mean too much in the long run, but we'll see how that goes. There's a dragon in 15 seconds here. All players are converging in that direction. Yar, of course, the lone teleport in this match, so we'll see if he's able to use that. Of course, Mega Gnar form did just go off, so he's not going to have that available for any kind of engagement here. Atypical is going to make quick work of that. They're not even going to attempt to steal, it looks like, with the Luxalt. So, okay, they just get that one for free and back out. That's probably for the best there. Taking their wins, getting out. Again, the longer this drags out for Team Atypical, probably the better. A-team much more reliant on their high mobility shenanigans. So Kaisa being caught out by the Shaco there, but Shaco in turn caught out by the Nocturne and the Luxalt. So that saved Luxalt kind of has purpose in the long run. I mean, he was dead anyway, but in any case, Shaco, okay, everyone gets one, right? That was a bit aggressive. That was, I mean, obviously we have the benefit here of, no fog of war and all that stuff. But in any case, there goes the Kale, who was very aggressively pushed in against basically everyone. Is this going to cost her? Can she at least trade a kill? No. Here comes Rel, who is also going to get chained in here, and may ultimately pay for the Kale's arrogance there, as she's forced to flash out. Is this simply going to chain into everyone walking in? Yep. They're doing the solo queue thing. Atypical needs to stop doing that right now, because they're slowly getting chained in one at a time. They're doing that thing where, like, someone thinks they have a kill, and oh no they don't. Oh wait a minute, that person who thought they had a kill is now going to die. I need to go save them. Oh wait a minute, I can't save them, and now I'm also dead. Wait a minute, I'm going to try and save this person who tried to save the person, and now I'm dead. And it's the same thing again here. Shaco just going down. And it's a catastrophic turn of events here for Team Atypical, who, I'm not going to say they were in the driver's seat exactly, but things are going very well for them. And now they're kind of on the back foot a bit there. And they're going to have to keep relying on that long-term Kale burn, even more so than they were previously. Baron is up, however, and all of Atypical is actually just kind of heading in that direction. I don't know if they're thinking of trying to sneak it or just setting up, or concerned that the A-team might be going for it there. But in any case, that all stalls out. Hopefully we see a bit more discipline going forward here. That was a very messy sequence of events for about the last... It seemed like it went on for 5 minutes, but I don't think it was quite that long. It was about maybe three minutes or so. Alright, in any case, no major objective being contested at the moment here. Teemo... What else? Again, that's not Teemo, that's Nod. freaking Yordles, man. Alright, here we have Kale grabbing the... oh, there we go. There's Teemo being ulted on by the Nocturne. Is Nocturne going to be able to finish that one off? Yep, in conjunction with Kaisa. So that's a good little combination they have going there. Nocturne jumps in, locks people down. Kaisa can just land a relatively easy skill shot of a person who's sort of busy there fighting and then warp in. So more of that against pseudo mobility. It's not exactly global, but yeah, kind of that pseudo-global mobility. Here comes Shaco. This time does manage to finally land one of those assassinations. It's been a while since he pulled one of those off. So that one works out for him there. And manages to pick up a very big 700 gold shutdown bonus. So that's going to be pretty tasty. Shaco, he's fueled by money. Like, quite a bit so. He can also fall off fairly hard. So he needs to keep that Shaco engine going, essentially. Because once it stalls, it's very hard to get it going again. And of course, ultimately, time is going to work against him here. As Shaco is, if you start getting to the super late game, not the greatest in the universe. Alright, it looks like Team Atypical has spotted out the Gnar, possibly. Yeah, with that ward they did. And did not want to get AoE'd by a Mega Gnar, all kind of clustered there, as that would be the that would probably result in 3 players dying, and most likely the A team grabbing the Baron. So very fortunate for them to spot that out and not take that engagement. We see people pinging for the Infernal Drake in about a minute there. Rel taking a lot of damage, is forced to jump out there, so no real resources expended. Lux, of course, will be getting her ult back very quickly. It's a very short cooldown. The A team in a stronger position at the moment. Teemo, of course, does not have the teleport, so he's going to have to manually work his tiny little Yordle legs there to get himself over in position to deal with this. And we see, there goes the Kale jumping in there. Is she going to be able to get, she gets a kill. We see Rel jumping in to try and get some CC on the back line there. And Gnar jumping in, actually landing his ult. That's going to be the decisive factor there. Here comes Teemo trying to slowly kite things out. All we have left in the back line here is Teemo and the Kaisa. So that is 3 kills for 2. The question is anyone going to be able to pick up the dragon? There are multiple players who are very low on the side of the A team, so they're going to have to be very cautious about this. They do not have the jungler, so I don't know if this is the greatest idea in the world. Obviously, you can just... Interesting. Samira does go down as a result of that, but they did pick the dragon up. Unfortunately for them, it looks like Shaco was not in position to try and smite steal. I do believe his smite is up, unless that's a glitch. So, a very risky and interesting play, which kind of worked. I mean, a kill for a dragon, I would absolutely trade that. So that fortunately works out for them there. Also, speaking of interesting plays, that was a very, very aggressive play by the Kale there. I feel like, had she not just jumped in before anything had happened, the fight might have gone a little bit better for them. Because the Kale does need to keep in mind that she's basically the most important player on the team here, at least from a team fight context. We see the Shaco still going here. Is that going to be a dead Lux? Probably. And there is the Zanya's. It's going to at least trade there. So going 1 for 1 against the support. I don't know about that one. Again, Shaco needs money to keep himself going. But again, there's a certain point where he sort of stalls out, and then it all, in terms of at least the jungler matchup or his counterpart, it becomes a Nocturne City at that point. So I don't know. We'll see. Kale obviously will pick up the slack going forward, but. Not exactly a huge fan of that trade, but he did, well, at the very least it also takes the Nocturne ult off the table. The Nocturne ult is definitely something you always want to be cognizant of. That alone can really change the course of the game. So we have Samira just kind of farming up there, trying to extend her, oh, no, she's actually behind on CS. I was about to say CS lead, but I was looking at Gnar's portrait. Here is a Kale versus a Gnar. This is an isolated duel. Unless Gnar can... Yeah, okay, they're not going to do anything here. Speaking of isolated, here we have Samira in the top lane. Will most likely be dying. There she goes, unfortunately pushed up. There are 3 teammates here who will try and avenge her death. Nocturne using the ult there, trying to trade things out. Actually, managed to blow the Shaco up. Yeah, that's what I mean. That Nocturne he's scary. So despite facing 3 players, he's able to trade out 1 kill. You see Rel and Bimo lurking around. The Dragon, or the Baron there. Not a lot happening for the time being. A brief moment of respite. I will take my drink of water. I've been talking a lot. Alright, Kaisa pushing that up there. Man, I feel like this is the first time I've actually looked up at the kill score in a while. It's 26 to 18. When did that happen? Man. I remember when it was even. Actually, I remember when Team Atypical, I think, had a 2-kill lead. Feels like about 20 minutes ago, but it wasn't that long ago. Alright. Definitely don't want to write out Atypical, though. Again, it doesn't feel like the kill deficit is that huge, simply because there's that Kale with that massive CS. Man, I keep trying to say CS score, but that's redundant. I don't know where I picked that habit up from. Definitely didn't used to say that. Anyway, we had that huge creep score. There we go. Just say the whole sequence of words out. And we have some splitting going on there. So Shaco in the top side. I don't know if I'll close with that. Gnar on the bottom side there, but Gnar does have teleport. Shaco, okay, so once he got that wave moving, he is now electing to kind of go into that potential fight there in the mid lane. Gnar gets that wave pushing and does back off. Here comes the Rel. Doesn't manage to land the ult. Good job of knocking 3 people in there. Here comes the Kale landing a kill against the Pix. What? Lux. Pix is Lulu's thing. And TF also going down as a result of that. So it looks like Team Atypical is now pinging Baron, while Kale is just going to pick more kills up. Can she solo everyone on her own here? The Baron is being... Here comes Teemo to potentially save the day. Walks into the mushroom. That's a sadness there. He's going to get picked off as a result by the... yeah, there goes the Nocturne. So he does land that as an exit kill there. Nocturne is capable of killing everyone unless they do something about it quickly. A bit of unfortunate lack of coordination there, as they do not pick up the Baron as a result of people kind of getting spread out and unfortunately thinking they can take that Nocturne when they actually couldn't. Whoop, something happened here. Support got Wi-Fi pulled. Is that the Lux or the Rel? I'm not sure who said that, but in any case, we... No, so it's the chat is only red side here, so I can't tell who that was. So I suspect it might have been the Rel that crashed then. In any case, they should be back soon if it's just a... Man, I just realized something. You're playing on Wi-Fi? Shame on you, sir. I don't know. I suppose some people don't have the better option. But I mean, it's League. You can get away with Wi-Fi connection. Just be glad that this is not a fighting game, because if someone here, and I was commentating a fighting game, you know, like your Street Fighters or your Mortal Kombat or something, and someone's playing on Wi-Fi, I'd have like a 10-minute rant for you guys. But this is League, so it's okay. All right, I understand. But you should still be on a hardwired connection. If you can't get a proper like Ethernet cable connection, you can always get what's it called? It's like called a power adapter or something like that. It basically connects your Wi-Fi through your house's like a power outlet, and then you can connect your internet through that. So it's not as good as like a proper Ethernet hardwired connection, but it definitely beats Wi-Fi. Again, I wish I remember what it's called so I can tell you guys, but it's probably pretty easy to look it up. Power something. I don't know. All right. So allegedly, according to allies, the Rel will be back in a minute. Oh, incidentally, we can pause the game here, so that's good. It'd be unfortunate if the game kind of ended as a result of just having to go on in our third place match here. But, in any case, Team Atypical We are waiting on... Yeah, it was a support. So... Man, I gotta actually do work and think of things to talk about right now. I should have opened chat so I can just, like, play off you guys. That always makes things interesting, or it makes things much easier from a streaming, because, you know, I do streaming and stuff. Sneak that subtle advertisement in there. But no, when you actually have an active chat talking about stuff, it makes your life just much easier because you can just go off of whatever they're talking about instead of having to make stuff up the whole time. Now, granted, depending on what game you play, it's easier to do because you can just be like, you know, you can have running commentary in terms of, you know, what's going on the screen. But if your chat's talking about, especially if they're talking about something interesting, like, I don't know, what's an interesting topic? Insert interesting topic, because obviously everyone's going to have a different thing, right? Think of the thing that you enjoy talking about the most, and chat's talking about that. Now imagine you get to sort of riff off that, and it just makes life really easy. But once again, unfortunately, I can't see what you guys are talking about, because I don't know. I don't know. Going forward, is there even a season 2 with going on with this NSSEA thing? I don't know. I probably won't be invited back. Like, what is this commentator talking about? We need a new one. I don't know. Maybe I'll just like keep chat open or something. But in any case, there is the finals game later today. Maybe I should do that, or maybe I should not try and mess with the system that isn't broken. Man, what's wrong with this person's Wi-Fi here? Did like a power line fall over or something? Oh, he can't rejoin. It's bugged. Yeah, if that's the case, you probably just got to restart your computer. But I guess that person, I don't know, if someone's listening to me and is in contact with this person, like, you can call them, just tell them the commentator said go restart your computer. Well, actually, no, this is on a 3-minute delay anyway. Okay, so I don't know. In the event that there's this huge tech issue or waiting here for 10 minutes or something and the delay actually catches up, and that's my advice. It keeps... Oh, okay. The word of God coming into my ear here says there is a bit of an issue with the whole delay thing, so I believe we're going to break. So I'll see you guys in a minute. Thanks for watching as we deal with both teams kind of converging on Dragon. An attempted steal there to no avail as Shaco does expertly smite that one out. So of course, we are back. It appears the rail has gotten the issue sorted out. I don't know if that was a result of just continuously clicking on trying to get back into the game or restarting the computer. Alternatively, there's a thing you can do in the press Control Alt Delete and go into the Task Manager, and then you shut all instances down of anything related to League, and that seems to do the trick. But in any case, you guys are not here for boring tech support talk. As there we go. Moment here, I'll just adjust something here. Alright, here comes the Shaco, looking to do that assassination thing, but for once actually deciding, wait a minute, that's not a good idea. There are 5 players here. So wisely backing out, because any errant play here can result in a sudden Baron. So both teams very, very careful about things. In fact, it wouldn't be a stretch to say whichever team picks up that Baron off of a fight would probably just win the game. Like, not immediately necessarily, but basically get a lead so big off of it that it would probably snowball into a win, as we'd most likely be seeing at a minimum an inhibitor off of that as well. Alright, so yeah, again, both teams deciding that's not worth the risk, wisely backing off. I'm going to say that was the correct call on both teams' parts there. Especially Team Atypical. I feel like they have a bit more to lose. Again, they can stall this one out and ultimately win, again, through that kind of Kale advantage I keep hammering away on, because again, look at that CS. She's maintained that lead throughout the entire game, from pretty much start to finish, and no one's even remotely close. The next closest person is Kaisa at 244. So of course, Kaisa, nothing to sneeze at in terms of when she's got gold working there. So Nocturne going to clear out that mushroom with his face and shield. Not going to take damage as a result. The Vision War going in the A team's favor for the time being. Samira farming things back out. She's not too far behind in terms of the CS war either, so keeping herself competitive there. Obviously a very, very scary character in competent hands. But here we go. Now we see Team Atypical positioning themselves to potentially set this dragon up. So this is where actually Teemo's not too bad. He's going to get that mushroom field all set up. So maybe looking to... They're actually starting it. Now that is an aggressive play there. We'll see what the plays out for in their favor. But they're all trapped in the pit there. They need to be very careful. Here comes the Narc. There's the Nocturne ulting on the backside there. We have the pretty good... who got the... yeah, that goes... The Baron goes down to Nocturne, so they managed to grab that as well. The kills, however, for the time being are going in favor of Team Atypical there. As is that an ace? Yes, it is. They lost the Baron as a result of all of that, but they should be able to push in here. Now, for the time being, if they don't get anything as a result of that, the victory still is for A team. So what needs to happen is they need to make something off of this. Hopefully, again, from their perspective, they grab an inhib off of this. I don't know if they're going to have the time to do it. They're definitely going to get 2 towers at a minimum. Certainly with Kale, actually, I'm going to revise my assessment here. With Kale's ability to shred things down, I think they should be able to grab that at the very least. They need that minion wave to push up pretty quickly, though. Lux is obviously going to have that ult there, so she's going to be able to take that minion wave out at long range. Okay, doing the safe thing. They decide to back out. Especially with Nocturne spawning with his ult. TF is going to spawn with his long range ult. That's definitely the discipline play. So I approve of that choice there. So ultimately, things in terms of gold total, that's 3 kills to Baron. That's probably slightly in favor of Atypical, isn't it? Good job at a Nocturne, actually. So he salvaged a really bad situation there by ensuring that the Shaco died, and so they couldn't smite it, and ended up taking the Baron himself. Now, of course, you have to wonder, had he prioritized a slightly different target? For example, had he killed the Kale immediately, should a thing such as that been possible, maybe the fight, could have totally gone in their favor. But, I mean, ultimately, the whole exchange was not awful for them, so... Unfortunately, Rel wandering there. Can't blame the DC on that one. There goes the Nocturne, who was very aggressively pushed in solo there. Is he going to be able to escape with his life there? Yeah, just barely. Rel cannot say the same, however. She does go down in the meantime. We have TF snagging that kill there. However, A-Team Atypical is not done. They're kind of still chasing in, preventing the A-Team from recalling, as the Kale is actually split pushing. There goes the Shaco. Bypasses the opposition there, does see the Lux at the last second, prevents that recall, and it looks like ultimately they might take that dragon, so I believe that's going to pay out for them in the end, as the Shaco is still around to grab that. Yeah, here we go. Kale is collapsing in. Kaisa is finding herself on the wrong side of the map there, and he actually gets collapsed in upon as the top lane Kale rotates back to behind the dragon, and a bit of tunnel vision there by the Kale. Unfortunately, does not spot out the sneaky, massively fed Angel of Death, who will now be leading the charge into the mid lane here against that inhibitor, and there we go. He's going to land that one there. Teemo is a bit aggressively pushed up, does need to watch out. He's not the sturdiest bee in the universe. Still looking to do things. I mean, for the time being, he's getting away with it and is able to land that damage. Now, again, he can move fast, but he doesn't have, like, emergency moves. He doesn't have, like, a blink or a leap. I somehow managed to combine those two words. I don't know if anyone in the history of the human or the English language has ever done that before, but in any case, that is another exposed inhibitor on the top side there. Rel very aggressively just kind of, let's be charitable and call that bait. Baiting out all that CS, or a CC, excuse me, and does get out for free there. It looks like people are rotating bottom side. Yeah, it's a very big wave. Kale, once again, picking up another resource for herself there. Is she full items? No, one of those things can be completed further. I'm not totally used to the new season's icons yet. Can I complain again? I feel like I've been complaining non-stop today. I don't like the art on the new icons. They look very samey. In any case, maybe I should just get a new pair of eyes, whatever. Alright, so the Team Atypical is hovering around the dragon there for the time being. I guess it's not spawned, so they're not really going to get anything out of it. Rel eating a whole bunch of damage there for, I don't know, she was guarding the chicken birds. We already established long ago, wow, that Kale damage forces out just a flash for no reason. And Shaco unfortunately auto-attacks the wrong thing. It does buy Nocturne enough time to bait himself into a bad fight, so clearly next level genius 7,000 IQ play by the Shaco there, as he baits the Nocturne into ulting into the back line there and resulting in a decisive and crushing, which is mildly redundant, I suppose, but let's just call it decisive victory on the part of the A-Team there, and that's the fight they were looking for. There's the Kale just in the back line, shredding everything. So ultimately, yeah, the game did revolve around that, and the A-Team, despite having a really, really good showing, was not able to defuse that bomb. It just ticked down and then exploded on them, and there goes the building, aka the Nexus, as Team Atypical find themselves the third place team in the NSSEA for this season. Congratulations to them. A hard fought series by A-Team. Again, they were really close in certain regards. They just didn't account for that one thing in the Kale, and are finding themselves in fourth place. So better luck in the future. Again, everyone did well. It was a good series. Thanks for watching. And of course, we're going to have our first place game between Uru and Bang, I believe, at 9 p.m. Pacific. So hope to see you guys there for that. I'll be ready to commentate. Thank you for watching the third place match. It's a good one. See you guys in a bit. Bye.